Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of the Great Debate Community discussions here on the Great Debate Community Public Access channel. And here we have a discussion that's actually pretty, I guess, as they say, meta, because we're going to be talking about the Great Debate Community itself, rather than some of the subjects that are usually discussed here. So one of the things that we'll be discussing is whether people think that this community is good on its own as it is right now. You know, any suggestions for improvements, how to make it more interesting, more vibrant, more what they want it to be, and what they already like about it too, because there's good things that people can point out as well. As far as how I feel about the state of the Great Debate Community, I feel that like it's good as it is in a lot of ways. I do like the fact there is a place where people can come for these kind of conversations, so they can have things that they don't normally would talk about with just your average everyday person, you know, because no one wants to hear that stuff, except for maybe these people. So there's a place for it. However, at the same time, though, there is a few things that I feel could be either changed or at least greatly improved upon. So with that being said, yeah, we'll start discussing. Blue, was there something you wanted to say specifically?
Well, you can't leave us hanging. Please tell us what the things you would like to change or think could be improved before any of us say anything. I think that's important.
Okay. Well, the things I think could be improved is, first of all, I've kind of grown a little bit to peace with this particular thing. One of the things that really irked me at first is Steve's refusal to go down the route of politics, or even politics light. I understand that getting to heavy politics can be kind of complicated, but even going down it to the point where, you know, you're talking about, you know, like social issues or social political stuff, which is more my kind of area of quote unquote expertise when it comes to the forbidden subjects around here.
Here.
What?
Here.
Right. And I wish there'd be more of that kind of thing around here. But again, I've kind of grown a little bit of peace to it, because I understand it. You know, if Steve really doesn't want that direction for this community, if he feels that that will just cause a bunch of problems, like politics is like the most controversial thing, if he thinks that's even worse than religion, which I find kind of laughable. It's like, dude, come on. You allow religion, for crying out loud. What's the worst you're going to get out of politics? Politics is light compared to religious stuff. But you know, like that being said, you know, if he does not want to go into the politics route, he thinks that's going to cause a bunch of problems, then I understand. It's like the same. It's like you can't ask the Great Debate Community. You can't ask, for instance, if this was like a Christian community or whatever, you're not going to ask that to talk a bunch about Buddhism. It's like that flies in the face of what the community is about. And if Steve doesn't want the community to be about the social issue stuff, I think it sucks. But since it is kind of his community and stuff, he kind of reserves the right to make it so this is strictly about philosophy, religion, and science, even though it would be nice to go into other topics.
I have a quick suggestion for that. I agree with you. Sometimes it feels limiting, and I don't see a problem with it now. Yes, I understand Steve's goal and what he's trying to avoid, certainly. But my suggestion is, why don't we have a weekend where we can talk about politics, where he relaxes that rule?
Like, you know, we talk.
That's just a suggestion. You know, go back. Yeah.
Where we talk about the philosophy of Marxism and the philosophy of capitalism.
Hey, I guess in a way you could argue it's philosophy. You could kind of try to find a loophole.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
no?
Ethics, morality.
Right.
Don't mention names.
He has said that it's okay if it's philosophical.
The ethics of private property versus communal ownerships. Yeah, we can be sneaky like that.
I think he just doesn't want it to be like turning to Hillary versus Trump type stuff.
Right. And that's what it would turn into almost instantly. Not that people who voted for Hillary really like her, or people who voted for Trump really like him, but that's what it would turn into instantly, and that is what I
think. Yeah, I understand why he wants to avoid it, but personally, I feel like there are ways where you could, because I've seen discussions like on this kind of stuff before, so I know it's possible. without going
Okay.
into like very barbaric type conversations.
I have a question.
Met so far. So, no. Steve, I understand why Steve does that. What else, Trill? What else do you think? You said you had another thing you thought might be.
Well, hang on. Someone else wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I have a quick question as a newcomer.
Okay.
Is this a community made up mostly of atheists?
Oh, that is a
Yes. Yes. The short answer is yes.
Hey.
All right,
To be
because
fair, there are theists here, like quite a bit actually.
It's mostly atheists, but there are quite a few theists as well.
Yeah,
I mean, because speaking of as an atheist and in my experience over the years with the atheist community, man, like the atheist politics is a sensitive topic, like religionist to religious people, and I know there's a huge rift in the atheist community right now when it comes to politics, between left-wing atheists and right-wing ones, or
all true, and Steve's trying to avoid that rift.
Yeah.
Well, we all have our own channels for a reason, so I don't even understand why it's a problem. If you want to talk about something, create your own hangout and do it.
Right. It's just I guess the problem is hang on. I'm not going to say this is a petty thing because actually Pin Valentine has a point here. This actually lines up perfectly with what Tyler Durden is saying in the live chat, because he says, why don't you have discussions in the community centered around politics or host them privately? And he has a point. He even said, seems like you just want to borrow the GDC subscriber base. And what my response to that would be, you're correct, but at the same time, though, speaking from someone who has actually ran a channel of my own back in the day, Tyler might not be too familiar with it, but I used to do hangouts and stuff. And even speaking, someone right here, like Pin, knows what it's like to have a channel doing hangouts and stuff. And the immortal great heathen over here, he knows what it's like trying to get people in to have these kind of discussions. That, let's just put it this way, getting the proper audience in that, it's not easy. I'm not going to say that excuses, that someone should just, basically, feel entitled, right, and leech off of somebody. That doesn't excuse anything. But at the same time, though, there is something to be said by the whole fact that there is an audience here, and it's kind of nice to know what some of the people in this particular community think of these certain topics. There's certain people where it's like, I hear this person talk about science that all the time. It's like, let's see what he would feel about some sort of political issue. You never get to hear that. And it's like that curiosity is never really satisfied. But again, I understand.
You could always add them and then send out invitations when you have those hangouts.
Yeah, the only problem with that is, and again, this isn't an excuse anything, you're right. The only problem is that if they'd actually want to come. Because how many times have channels and that been advertised around here in the Great Debate community or on Steve McRae's channel, and then people just aren't interested. So those people still sit at a very low subscriber count. They don't get views. Or they don't get follows on circles.
Then the best solution is obviously to go find a like-minded group. The Great Debate community isn't the only group out there.
Right.
I'm not saying leave the
that.
Great Debate community. There's others
right.
that you can join simultaneously.
I understand that, and again, this is what not a big issue. As I pointed out before, this is not a big issue to me. The whole fact that we don't have politics here, like, I don't want this to come across as I'm complaining, like, oh, we should have politics. It's like it'd be nice. It's a suggestion. Exactly, it's a suggestion. It'd be nice if they were there. I understand why they're not. It's just me saying. But again, I've kind of grown to peace with the fact
they would have to be heavily regulated, and that would take much work. But on the other hand, have you ever been to a community centered on politics? There is no possibility of civil discussion across the aisles of any kind.
That's sad. We're in a sad state of affairs. If that's the case.
It's true.
Wait, you said regulated community, man? No, make it unregulated.
Yeah.
What do you have? Like ultimate slugfest over there, dude?
Yeah, I mean, regulation is another word for socialism, man.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's funny to me.
Oh man, I guess what is this? Discussing the difference between the Great Debate community and Debate Coliseum over here.
Keep this conversation a conversation.
Right. Right. See, and that's not really a big issue. Like, Blue, you still wanted to know what one of the other issues I had was, right?
Yeah, and I got my own thing ready when you need it.
Well, I mean, I was going to let you guys talk first, too. It's not just my hangout.
Okay, well, I have to say that there is no debate, and immortality is right. This community is mostly atheist or agnostic, with a bunch of about a couple dozen Christians running around. The clown car posse. There's never been a debate, you know. And Ronnie's got these people on a hook. G-Man's got you guys on a fucking hook. You know, and you say, well, Jason Burns has got you on a hook. Yeah, well, that's fine. At least I admit it, and at least they get all the attention because there's so fewer of them compared to us in the GDC and elsewhere on YouTube. And I heard what Trill was saying, and that I don't want it to turn into just a bash Christian thing either. But at the same time, there's no debate on evolution. There's no debate on whether there's a God or not. Are you going to insult me? You're trying to insult me? No. And I'm sorry, that's how I feel. But I will just do an atheist victory lap for as long as I want every week. And if it sounds like Christian bashing, I'll live with that.
Right. Right. And I don't know, it's just being played out.
What's the debate? And that's why your suggestion about politics is interesting, because there is something to debate there. I'm not completely beholden to any side there.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, until I see some goddamn evidence, you can keep your fucking story to yourself.
Right.
Sell me bridge, motherfucker.
And I'll say that's one of the things actually about the, like even the discussions about religion and philosophy and science. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are interesting things that are discussed here. And back when I first found this kind of underbelly of the internet here, it was actually pretty fun. And, you know, I learned some things, you know, we had some debates and all that. But after a while, especially now to the point where I no longer have my old channel and everything, it's like half the things I've heard already before. Like, what's there to say about some of the stupid things that hasn't already been said? Like, I'm not adding anything new. If I were to try to argue vehemently with some Christian or somebody, it's like, I know I'm just going to have to time, if it's a smart Christian, I'm just going to lose because he's just going to do these weird philosophical games and I'm bad at philosophy, so what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, it just, like, I don't know, I'm just burnt out from, like, a lot of the subjects in that, and a lot of the ones that I wish I could do better at, I just can't. Because I'm not a philosophically minded person. I'm not super good at science. You know, like, but some of the subjects I am interested in, there could be debates now on them, but not here.
How do you account for truth in your worldview?
Yeah, I'm so tired.
Are you trolling?
I'm so tired of hearing that shit.
Yeah, that was a joke. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a joke. I'm just so tired of hearing that from people.
Steve, can you please start a great political debate community?
Oh, man. I was actually suggesting that there should be an offshoot where there is politics.
I will say this, man. If you guys want to talk politics, you're all welcome to my fledgling channel.
And again, it's not just politics either. I mean, even there's other subjects too. Shoot, I mean, I don't consider. Yeah, I know some people consider it part of politics because it does kind of have its political undertones. But I mean, even social issues. Would be
politics
cool to
is
talk about.
such a broad term. Everything is politics, including religion.
Oh no, he can't escape. No, too late. Yeah. So this is now officially a political.
If it's no politics, if it's no politics, then we don't talk about anything. But
you know, you have a point there. Isn't that the fun thing with words? So Steve, actually, this is a political community. So I hope you don't mind, but we talk politics all the time. We just have a very limited range of politics.
Yeah, it's like, you know, this notion of politics and religion being separate things, man. That's a pretty recent development in human history. You know, at one point, you know, throughout most of civilization's history, what was the difference really? You know, that the church and the state, you know, they were one and the same. They were not separate entities. I mean,
but I don't really agree that the religion debate is dead because maybe for you guys, but there's still a ton of people joining this community.
Absolutely agree with that.
So,
absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
They're probably going to end up getting bored too.
There's a point that people who have been through these debates already have heard all the arguments and have made up their own minds, and there's quite a few debates.
Is that like with everything in this community, though? No offense, but
can I finish?
Sure.
Sorry. Things get slapped down with so little comment and so little educational material that a newcomer kind of has a problem picking it up.
Yep.
And
right.
I would really like, especially to invite the religious people to come talk to me, to come try and persuade me, to explain things to me, because I don't understand some of the arguments you're making. If you just, if people in philosophy and religion just go about, and science, that one I can understand, just go about throwing terms like, oh, this is the ontological argument, and this is this argument, and this. Everybody's using shortcuts to explain their point. There's no debate.
Right.
Okay, we all know everything. No.
Right.
Treat me like an idiot. Treat me like somebody who doesn't know anything.
Right.
But teach me. Explain it to me.
Right. And that's something I feel like does not happen. I don't want to say enough, but I guess so. Yeah, I'll use that word. I think that doesn't happen enough around here. Now, I don't want to get the idea that, it's giving the idiots too much credence, where it's like, oh, do we have to dumb down it for them all the time or whatnot? It's like, not if you don't want to, but if you truly want somebody to understand something who is not very scientifically minded, like myself, yours truly, I just have an interest in science, I'm not a scientist, then you really do kind of have to, break down certain things, or just some things I'm not going to get. I do a few independent research things on my own for my particular interest in science, because I do have some narrow interest in science. But, for the most part, I'm not going to know what you're talking about right away if you mention something like ATP synthase or whatever. I'd be just as stupid as true empiricism on that. I don't know. Like, shoot, I've never heard about it before until this community brought it up.
Biochemistry, man.
Yeah, see, this guy knows what he's talking about because he looks into it enough to actually know. But I guess I'm coming at it more from a simple layman's perspective. I mean, if you know your stuff around here, you know your stuff, and then you're going to be able to participate a lot better.
Yeah,
but someone like me, it's going to be hard.
If you really know your stuff, though, you can explain it simply to where you can understand it.
Yeah,
and someone actually.
If you really know your stuff and are a top debater and have covered the topic ground to bottom, you're not going to be just joining a community for the first time. Right? Just joining the debate.
That's true.
Depends.
You will be booked to debate the most famous other guy on the other side.
Yeah, I guess.
I've met some famous people on the other side already.
Yeah.
Like William Lane Craig. I have met him in person.
No, that's one thing that's true. Well, not just because you're famous doesn't necessarily mean you're smart either. Like Aaron Raw, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The debate between Aaron Ra and General Hansel was exactly an example of that. Like,
I'm starting to get pissed off.
One side is trying to explain everything, trying, and the other guy is just ignoring him completely and talking to himself and saying, this debate has been settled a long time ago. Yeah, then why did you come here?
Wait, who's doing the explaining and who's saying that the debate was settled?
Me too.
Arn was actually saying the debate was settled.
Exactly.
I cannot imagine General.
I'm completely on the general sides here, even though being an atheist.
And the topic is evolution, right?
No, it was not.
The topic was historicity of the Bible.
Yeah, General actually accepts evolution as a thing.
Oh, okay. I mean, it was a guess, but
I don't know what hangout you guys are talking about because I didn't watch it. But I'm starting to get pissed off because I love Aaron Raw, and it seems like everybody gets to meet him, but me.
He was here though. He was on the community. He had a debate with General.
Yeah, I didn't see. I know vaguely that it happened. I just didn't see the hangout.
Oh, and then he also went on Steve's channel, and that was kind of a disaster because there's people yelling at each other. But
I will say this about Aaron Raw, and this may upset you, but I have had dinner with Aaron Raw before because I used to live in Dallas, Texas, close enough to that guy.
You know, just going to be bragging for the rest of this podcast.
No, stay right there. Stay right there. I've got buttons that Russia gave me to some special kind of missiles. I'm going to send them your way if you don't mind.
His wife Lavandra was there too.
Well, I hope you have some sort of counter for that missile.
It's his bragging power.
Just shattered.
But
okay.
I have not met Matt Dillahunty.
Yeah,
I could take or leave Matt Dillahunty.
Right. So let me think here. There was a comment in the live chat I wanted to address that I think is also a good topic. Helena Handbasket says we need better theists to discuss topics in like philosophy of religion. Yeah, we do. We could use some better theists around here. It's kind of sad when the best people we have is people like what G-Man or Matt Slick or Rational Theist Matt.
How is that the best people you have?
Thanks, guys.
General and Ochiwawa and.
Well, here's the thing: they don't participate. They don't really participate all that much.
Well, I'm sorry. Today I was watching Ochiwawa participate all day and try to explain his point, and as far as I'm concerned, he was really trying. And there is
okay. Standing down. He tried. Good job. Never mind.
But yeah, if you just say, "Oh, you're making this fallacy," and expect him to understand it, accept it, and include it in his worldview, all at the same time, that's an overkill. Right?
I'm sure he's doing some good stuff. It's good work. He's probably doing way better than I was when I was still a Christian. Good job, LG. I'm not trying to discredit your work.
Trill Gary is better than you at arguing, man.
What?
You don't really try to argue much.
Well, because I don't try to argue much because there's no point. Especially with my position now. It's not so much me trying to argue, it's just more saying this is what I feel.
So so that makes Gary a better arguer, debater.
Well, I have yet to get into an argument with him about misotheism. But if he wants to do it, I mean, sure, go ahead. I'm sure I can put up a pretty good case.
I do not want to talk to Gary for any reason. But
he permabanned me, so you don't want to talk to me, so good.
I would not turn down a debate on whether or not atheist exists if he wanted it, but I'm not going to him for it. He can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it crazy to see people who believe in God but don't believe that atheists exist. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and he's got some really stupid arguments for it. Like, he doesn't understand the meaning of metaphor at all.
Wait,
how about that? You're so right. He doesn't understand the word metaphor at all.
Wow.
Wait, were you guys on the Krillism server today? Or?
No.
I don't know what that is.
I don't go to that. I don't want to call it despicable. I don't want to call it detestable. I don't go to that unique place.
I don't know what this place is, but if you don't want to call it something, it's probably that something.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually no offense. I mean, I'm sure it's good for the people that like that kind of thing, but for me personally, that's not my thing.
Yeah, it's kind of this dark corner of
right. Yeah, no, just no. See, I'm not even on. I'm not even on Discord that much, anyways. So I mean, it's still kind of a waste of time for me specifically to be part of that thing. Like, I joined because I wasn't sure what it was, And then when I found out what it was, it's like, yeah.
I got a Discord now, and I never fucking use it. Because I don't know what the fuck it's for.
Join my server.
Why?
Because everybody's doing it.
Oh, great. Fuck yeah. Everybody's got a fucking Instagram, too. Where's mine at?
Yeah. Well, not everybody has an Instagram, but everybody has a Discord, at least. I'm kidding.
But I did give into the fidget spinner craze. Everybody's got one of those, and I've got 4.
The conversation's devolving now. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm bored. I'm extremely bored.
Yeah, well, I don't know. No one asked you to be here.
Let's go on Discord.
Yeah. Figure out how it works and then tell us.
But
in the meantime, we'll discuss the State of the Great Debate. But if you don't want to do that, you can.
No, I do.
I haven't put my 2 cents in here yet.
Oh yeah. Please put your 2 cents. Please put us back on topic.
So like, what's the question exactly? It's
oh no. Okay.
What's your opinion on where the debate is at? Where the community is at?
But is it like related to our atheist bashing Christians here and stuff like that?
It could be that. It's whatever you feel are the problems. Whatever you feel.
So, like, I feel like inside of the actual Hangouts itself, it's fine because we have good moderators and they let everybody have a say and stuff like that. But I've had a few interactions, like, in the actual community itself, where it's people just trying to win arguments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even care about the truth. They're just trying to win arguments and try to pwn the Christian or whatever.
Those people get on my fucking nerves, don't they?
People that just try to pwn people?
Yeah, basically.
That's what
people participating in debate sports. Like, how can I take you down fastest and make you irrelevant fastest without actually discussing you, engaging you?
That's what I wanted to do.
About right.
But anyways, yeah. I view it as it can be done well, and it can also be done pretty horribly. Because I mean, if somebody actually has a point, they have a point. You know, whether you like it or not. But there's a difference between that and then the whole presup thing and stuff like that.
No, I mean, there was this one guy I was talking to, and he was like, "Oh, well, you've never read this book by Hawking before." I was like, "Yeah, I read it like 10 years ago," and I screenshotted a paper that I wrote 5 years ago citing that book, and he still claimed that I was a liar. So it's just that kind of fun. That's just like won't listen to what you say no matter what. Claims you're dishonest just because you're a Christian, so on and so on forth.
Well, isn't that fun? I'm sure you had a really fun time doing that. And that must have been like amazing. I wish I was in your shoes for that point, because you know, I'm kidding. But with the whole Great Debate community, like I feel the whole like bashing and stuff like that. I mean, there's a difference between bashing on somebody for their beliefs and bashing on somebody because what they believe is like, I guess they're irrational, like bad science and stuff like that. Like a lot of people who are Christian and are young Earth creationists, they'll say, "Oh, you're bashing us because we believe that, you know, the Earth is 6,000 years old and the Ark and all." It's like, no, we're bashing you because what your belief is stupid. It's nothing to do with your religion. In fact, it has nothing. In fact, you can be religious and still, you know, accept evolution and modern science and all that. But you're deciding to throw all that out because you can't read your holy book properly, because it actually doesn't even say that God specifically poofed everything into existence. But you know,
I mean, I don't
expect Greek and the Hebrew to be everybody's forte. So
I do have respect for the Christians who are young Earth creationists. Man, I mean, that is what their religion teaches. You know.
It doesn't, though. It honestly, it really doesn't.
Dedicated to the cause, the young Earth creationists. It says 7 days. Like you can't read it any other way. 7 days. 7 days.
Not really.
I've come to terms with the fact that the Bible says anything that you want to fucking say.
That is beautiful.
The problem is it's
nail on the head.
It can be interpreted the whole 7 days specifically thing. But if you actually look at the original text, it does not explicitly say 7 days.
It says whatever you want to
Well,
say.
if
Here's the thing, half these people that take it that literally, half the people that are taking that interpretation of it, like the 6,000 years old and the animals on the Ark, but they're just reading the English version. They probably never looked at the Greek or the Hebrew manuscript of their life,
or the Babylonian text that it was adapted from.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, but they are a representative sample. Most of the people do not read the Bible in detail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't buy it, man. It's like
I think that's fine though. I think most people don't read peer-reviewed journals either.
Exactly.
As long as you're looking at the experts and what they're saying.
Yeah, and there's a big equivalence there. Like my belief in science is no more valid than their belief in religion. I believe the authorities that tell me that quantum physics works that way, and I enjoy reading pop sci books about it because it's interesting and thought provoking. But I have no real evidence about it whatsoever, except
that's where cross
works.
references come in.
It could all be lies. It could all be lies.
It can't. It can't because there's a lot of everyday evidence, such as computers, mobile phones,
and a lot of credible experts as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I mean, when it comes to the more theoretical stuff that I have no idea how to test for, like I don't have anything in my room probably that can help me study quantum physics. If I were to look into that, I would have to kind of rely on what other people say, even though I'm not interested in it really too much. But
maybe you can look up on how to set up your own double slit experiment, man. I remember doing that in high school and college.
Miranda has a double slit.
Well, yeah, I mean, Pin can experiment right there. There you go.
I want to set up
he's probably done it many times.
Delayed choice double slit experiment with modifications. Can anybody help me about that? No, seriously.
That's more hard to do, man.
I know.
I mean,
but that's where the edge is. That's where I have questions.
I mean, you're gonna need these special crystals and all that fancy stuff.
Make sure your crystals are supercharged by sunlight.
But a lot of those things I simply take for granted. I don't question them. I trust the authority of the people who say it to me. Not only that, I internalize those things. I simply take them for granted. And I remember doing the same thing while I was a believer. So I grew up Christian, Catholic, and God was just another person. Somebody I could talk to before going to bed at night, and I never really questioned the fact that he exists or not. And that's the bit that kind of comes across hard. Like you berate theists for saying there are no atheists, everybody believes in God in their heart. But they're kind of doing the same thing. Like you don't believe in God just because you haven't thought about it hard enough, or I don't know. It's an internal
That's an interesting way
belief.
of looking at it. I've not thought about it that way. That's pretty interesting. Thinking about the fact that maybe the Christians are suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. Never thought about that, did you, Gene? Yeah. Or however you want to word it.
It's like when a Christian tells me that, deep down, there's a God, and I'm like, deep down, that's
Yeah,
there was a comment on another stream today where somebody said something like, I just want to tell these people to go to real sources, to go to the colleges and read the literature and not go to those junk sites that peddle them nonsense. And so they can learn the language so that I can explain to them why God doesn't exist. Like, no.
Let me explain to you why you are wrong.
Yes. No, if you want to explain it to somebody, you have to do it in their language. You have to do
Right.
it so that they understand. If they do not know the concept of logical fallacies, then you cannot just invoke a logical fallacy and say conversation over.
Yeah, I think that that this is interesting though, because I think a lot of the reason why a lot of atheists today are becoming atheists, or a lot of people are becoming atheists, is not necessarily because they, explored all the arguments, but probably more to do. I'm not saying there aren't some that have, but I think it probably has more to do with people like Lawrence Krauss or Richard Dawkins coming out as experts, even though they're experts in science. But anyway, coming out as experts, claiming that God doesn't exist.
That's not true necessarily, because there are people.
I am not one of those people.
Yeah, there's also emotional reasons too.
I mean, he said most, though. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not even sure if most do that because of that, though. To be honest.
Well, I've run into a lot of them that are like, "Oh, well, just go read this book by Lawrence Krauss. He said this." I'm just like,
necessarily mean that he became an atheist because of Lawrence Krauss. He found a book by Lawrence Krauss that best explained what he thinks.
Yeah, but if he really understood it, he could explain it to me.
That's true.
I
completely agree with that.
That's why they're fighting the book.
Like with me, man, even when I was a theist, I had doubts in me, and then I was like, well, there really is. I don't really see any evidence or justification whatsoever for this stuff, and then it went away.
For me, I personally feel like for some of them, not all of them, some of them it's more on an emotional level, and I'll keep arguing that until I can convince otherwise. Because a lot of people say it's based on logic and reason and that, and I think there's a lot that do base their assumptions on that. But the more and more you really boil down someone's belief, and a lot of times people get torn apart in a way on this community. And the more and more you really look at certain arguments and how they justify things, I feel like the more and more it can be on an emotional level.
If you're an atheist because of any emotion, like, oh, my life is shit, so there's no God, or look at the world around us and shit like that, then you're a shitty person. You don't deserve respect. That's all there is to it.
Well, here's the thing. I'd say that's a sorry excuse for being an atheist.
I agree.
Like,
I mean, you're nicer than I am.
What if you're an atheist because Father Barron touched your doodle?
Oh, then that's okay. Because I touched Father Barron back. I couldn't even finish that.
Fair enough.
Oh, right. Man. I'm going to be laughing about that later.
I don't know if that says you're a good person or a bad person.
Stuff, I just burst out laughing.
Well, it says you're a good person or a bad person. But, I mean, we're not discussing the morality argument. So we're not going to get into that. Because we all know that none of you guys, except for maybe me and Ouchie, you have a basis for morality. So,
yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, totally. My morality comes from My Little Pony.
Well, he does have a basis for morality.
Ironically,
it is a basis for morality.
Ironically, I think
that friendship is magic.
Ironically, I think that a lot of atheists base their morality on emotions.
Those people don't deserve respect either. Fuck them.
Can you say with certainty that you're devoid of any emotion?
I am devoid of any emotion except for sexual pleasure. No, that's not an emotion.
With ponies, right?
With ponies.
Wasn't AJ Ayer an emotivist, when it came to ethics and morality?
You could still base your ethics on on emotions. It's called hedonism.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a school of thought within ethics, that states that moral statements are actually, reflect a person's emotions. For example, if you think that, killing a child is bad, or if you make that claim, what you really mean is that, killing a child disgusts you. It triggers a negative emotion within you, and it's called emotivism.
Right.
Right. Because here's the thing: very few people. I could be wrong. Very few people have a morality that's subjective or whatnot that they themselves don't feel comfortable following. I mean, if somebody believes in objective morality, they might say, "Oh, I don't like the fact that life is this way, but these are the rules." But I have very few people that believe in the concept of subjective morality, that they themselves don't agree with every single thing that their morality stands for. So it's almost like it's just their individual values. I don't even see this. This is why I don't actually accept the whole subjective morality thing. I have individual values that are different from the overarching objective morality. But to call those values of mine a morality, it sounds a little arrogant.
Well, it works as long as you are well.
But to be fair, this is not a discussion about morality. So
yeah, fair enough. It's
I don't know. I don't want to
debate community.
No, we're not doing that. Not today.
Okay, it's about the great debate community.
Right.
Man, I do like
the great
reading.
Debate community has no morality.
I do like reading the works of atheists who are moral realists, man. Like when I start doing that, it opened my eyes to a whole new world.
Hey,
like,
hey, we're not discussing that. This morality is boring.
No, it's not.
Well, how do you know it's not?
You take that back.
All right, I'll say this: read Schellenberg.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, Wielenberg. My bad.
Okay, next stop, moral nihilism.
No, that's the worst. Actually, no, it's not. But... okay, but
so one thing the community might do better is announcing stuff, and
yes,
like when will the next stream be? What will the topic be? Announce it a day in advance so that people can prepare their arguments. Anything.
Man, that would be so nice.
Like,
I have to say that
once a week, one stream a week.
I have to say scheduling is definitely something that has to be worked on. And I know Steve himself, he's pretty good on that because he'll warn you a few days or whatever in advance. So I can't really fault Steve there. If you're not getting notifications from him, it's probably because you don't have your notifications on when it comes to Google and you don't have Steve in your circles or whatever. But other people, there's a lot of things I'll miss by other people because they simply don't announce it. They just kind of start it.
Yeah.
You know, and then, oh, great. Wow, I guess I missed that. Right?
So this...
Speaking of... Barney and I are going to be doing something on Friday, so you probably wouldn't be interested though. It's on philosophy.
Well, that's
What's the topic?
The prime cause mover column thingy.
Goody.
Anything that has to move, it has to have a move. Yeah, I don't care. So. No, I don't.
Yeah.
No,
I am coming from a position that if I let him explain it to me all the way, he's going to persuade himself that it is wrong.
Okay,
beautiful. That's a beautiful strategy.
Yeah, man.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
You guys.
You just you tell me how it goes because I'm not gonna sit through it.
You guys are gonna be talking about Thomas Aquinas' idea, man.
Oh,
nope.
No.
I do not accept arguments from authority, source, or anything. He has to explain the concept to me.
Yeah. I mean, but the argument of
enough
motion,
to
man,
crack
that's Aquinas' argument, or one of them.
It is.
I do not know
Aristotle, but yeah.
Yeah.
I do not know who Thomas Aquinas is, and I do not know what God is.
Right, and then all those boring people. But as far as the whole great debate community goes, another thing I think that could be improved upon slightly, because sure, notification definitely is something that would be nice. But another thing is I wish more people that we interact with here in this discussion would actually join the official great debate community. I know you can't force that, I know it's a personal decision if people want to be a part of it or not. But the Great Debate community is bigger than this little Google Plus group we call the Great Debate community. People who are new to this might not know this, but there's a lot of different offshoots of the Great Debate community. A lot of different like outsider kind of like they're kind of part of the community, kind of not. Like they interact a lot with the members. They might know, for instance, who Steve McRae is or Hogtie Champ is, but they don't necessarily participate in the Great Debate community discussions themselves or are part of the Google Plus page. Instead, they rather do their own thing where they talk in their own little boring echo chambers where only people that are like-minded of themselves are usually allowed to come in. Talk specifically like people like the Bible Thumping Wingnut Network, Von Helton, who else here? The Flat Out Elected group, those flat earthers. But the thing is, they know who these people are, the G-Man crew, but they themselves are not specifically part of the Great Debate community necessarily. But they're an offshoot of it. They interact with us, and we have interacted with them sometimes. It's kind of annoying that they're not all in the same place. But again, I can't really encourage somebody to do something they don't want to do. So, but yeah. Just a little bit of a pet peeve. I don't know.
You monologued the shit out of that.
Well, yeah, you could have stopped me. Shoot.
And we killed the stream. There's 11 people watching us, including. Oh well. There's no conversation in the live. This is the most boring stream ever. Right. Okay, all my premises are wrong. Let's fight. Who wants to fight? In here.
Exactly. Right.
Told you guys.
No. I'll say this is one thing I wanted to mention. Despite just quickly, I wish more people my age would join. That'd be kind of nice. Because there's a lot of people that are kind of...
How old are you? Yeah.
20, 21. There's a lot of people that are like older than me that have more like...
I heard 20.
Because, you know, religion and...
Your connection just went to shit.
Is he breaking up or am I breaking up?
No, he's breaking up. I can hear you clearly, and he's just...
Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Monologue for a while, and then we'll see.
Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. See, if I'm that boring, people got to tell me. I mean, I know Dragnot's pointed it out. Dragnot's pointed it out, but you two only pointed it out just now. So I thought, oh, maybe this Dragnot has a problem with me. But
I told you were monologuing, and then your response was to go into another monologue. So
okay, I'm done. Someone else talking.
What are we talking about again?
Please. We're talking about how to improve the great... I'm done. No, we're not talking about nothing anymore. So thanks, everybody, for watching the stream here. This is a discussion on the State of the Great Debate, which did not go as planned. But you know what? Maybe people have concerns or whatnot. They could always talk to Steve McRae, since it is kind of his community. And then maybe he can, you know, compromise or say, go screw yourself, because it is his community. I don't expect any of this stuff to change here that I've listed. Especially not the politics thing. I mean, I kind of come to peace with that. If anything, you know, I just wish more people would join that were kind of layman-ish, not so scientific. So thanks everybody for watching. If you like these conversations, be sure to join the Great Debate community, Google Plus community. Talk about science, theology, and philosophy. Steve McRae's channel, you might want to check that out. He's the owner of the Great Debate community. You might want to subscribe to this Great Debate community channel so you can keep up with this stuff. And
we are slaves. He owns us.
Well, he kind of does. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. Doesn't know me. Speak for yourself.
And don't forget to click the notification button to become part of our notification crew.